Hi, everybody. Do you know that we have all discriminated against somebody and we are all prejudiced at one time and another in our lives? High school. If you don't speak to a certain group because of the way they dressed, you are being prejudiced against them or discriminating against them because of what they dress like, or because they don't fit into your idea of what your friends should be. You're being prejudiced or discriminated against them because they're different. And prejudice, I think discrimination and the prejudice means the same thing. It means that you don't like somebody because of the way they look, because they have a disability, or because they have a mental illness, or because they don't dress the way you want them to dress. Now, if they cuss, and they do anything that's morally wrong to your religious, or morally wrong in society, then it's acceptable in a way, but you're still being prejudiced. Now, people prejudice against people that have been in jail. People discriminate against people in jail. And people discriminate and are prejudiced when they don't understand, or when they don't look at what the person is inside the heart. They look at the person's past, or they look at what the person does or acts. They don't look at what the person does in good. They always focus on what the person has negatively done. Or they don't understand. So that's my opinion, that people that don't understand other people are prejudiced, or people are prejudiced when people are different than them, or people discriminate against them. And as I said before, why do so many people go to jail and come out and go back into jail? Because society doesn't give people chances. There's a lack of knowledge on how to deal with criminals after they get out of prison. And there's another lacking in this world: forgiving people for their past. And yes, your past can catch up with you, but why does one mistake have to ruin somebody's entire life? And I don't mean murderers should get out of jail. I mean stealing. I don't mean rapists either. But why? Just because somebody steals something once, why do people always assume that that person's going to be a stealer? Why are people always going to assume that because I have a mental illness, I'm not going to succeed? Or because I have ADHD, some people in my family don't think I can drive. Why do people listen to doctors, and why do people not let people be who they are without being prejudiced or without being mean just because you don't understand? Why don't you get to know the person before you're prejudiced or judgmental towards them? Why? And that's another reason. If somebody doesn't like you, in my opinion, it means they want something from you that they don't have, so they're jealous. Number two, they don't understand, or they don't know how to deal with you, so they write you off. Or number three, they think you're so successful that they want to be in power and they think they can't measure up to you. Or they think that you're going to think they're at the bottom when you're way up here. And that's the same with people that have been in jail. See, people think just because they've been in jail that the people in the workforce think that the jail people are right here and that they're up here, and they don't forgive. That's what our society is lacking, in my opinion, is forgiveness. And they don't get to know the person. They go by looks or what the person has done in the past. The society needs to know people can be rehabilitated. People can change. Now, as I said, I'm not saying rapists and murderers, where they could change, but they don't deserve to be out. But they deserve a second chance. But they don't deserve to be out of jail, in my opinion. And rapists shouldn't be. But if somebody, like, steals, or somebody, like, does drugs and stuff, I don't think they should be punished for the rest of their lives and never get a job because of that.
You can become a registered nurse by earning
That's why
a degree in nursing.
People go back to jails, because nobody gives them a chance usually. There's some people that will. You should trust people and give them second chances. And stop being prejudiced just because you don't understand something or because you're jealous. And we all are prejudiced, including me. So, you can acknowledge what you don't admit. Have I been discrimination against blacks? You could call me a racist. Sure I have. Do people discriminate against certain neighborhoods because of the way they look? Yes. Have I called someplace the ghetto because there's blacks there? Yes. Does that make me a racist? No. That just makes me my opinion about a certain area, or I heard it from somewhere. Does that mean it's really the ghetto, or does that mean all blacks live in the ghetto? No, we just assume stuff. So we've all been prejudiced. Even if you are Christian, you've probably been prejudiced against other people that aren't Christians. Like you telling that that person's bad for not believing in God or something, or that they're going to go blah-de-blah. So, you would be lying if you said you want prejudice. So stop looking at what people have and stop looking at the way people look and act, and start realizing that they are human beings and they want what everybody else wants. Maybe that person doesn't know how to act. Maybe that person doesn't know manuals. Maybe that person doesn't want to fit in. Maybe that person has never been taught. Maybe you can be the example. You can set the example. You change the world by not sitting on your butt. You change the world by living beyond what society says and by just being you. Because if you have the guts to be you, then somebody else might have had the guts to be themselves and not worry about what other people think in this world. And if somebody says you can't do something, make sure you do it for yourself, not to put them wrong. And make sure you don't give up on what your dreams are, no matter what anybody else says. Happiness comes from believing in yourself, to me, and happiness comes from knowing what you want and go after it. And happiness comes from not trying to fit into this world, but trying to fit into what God's will is. And I'm not perfect, and I mess up all the time just like everybody else. But I admit my faults. And I admit that I'm different. And yeah, sometimes it's hard because I'm different. But you know what? It makes me who I am, and I am going to change the world one day by just being me and the fact that I have God on this world. Well, I don't mean the world, but I can change lives. You can change a life by just being you. Life internally. In a little while the world will not see me anymore, but you will see me because I live. You will live too. That means God lives inside of you, and God will help you through everything. And I don't really mean change, that I can change the world, but one person can change somebody else's life, and then that next person can change somebody else's life, then that next person can change somebody else's life, and then the whole world is changed. That's what I meant. Anyways, my whole point is we are all prejudiced. If you say you've never been prejudiced or never been discriminated or never discriminated against somebody else, in my opinion, you are lying. That's all I have to say.